Meeting order, Wednesday, February 13th, 2019, full county board meeting. Clerk, call roll, please.
Alt, Bard. Here. Barron. Bowman.
Here.
Bowers.
Here.
Okenauer.
Here.
Crow. Curtis.
Here.
Doobie. Here. Ducott. Hughes. Johnson. McGinnis.
Here.
McTaggart. Awful. Here. Shore.
Present.
Sticknot. Whitlow.
Here.
Young. Zumwalt.
Present.
Mrs. Awful.
Mr. Chairman and fellow members, I'd like to introduce Pastor Silas Montgomery from the Christian Bible Church in Central Park. He'll be leading us in prayer.
Morning. Would you pray with me? Father, we come to you this morning with much on our minds and busy agendas before us and the heavy business of government to accomplish. I pray, Lord, that all here who serve their land and their fellow countrymen would be rewarded for their honest service with right and true blessings. I pray that those governed would be blessed by their service and that this county would flourish because of their dedication to it and to you. May your presence be sought. May your will be accomplished. May your name be exalted through these proceedings, through the preparations that have taken place before this time, through the actions that result from this time. May the dialogue be civil. May the decisions be just. And may the result be the honor of your great name. Please be in this meeting, Lord. Be in the agenda. Be in the business of the day for your greater glory. In the holy and sovereign name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you have a copy of the agenda in front of you. Is there a motion to approve? Mrs. Awful, is there a second? Mr. Sumo, any questions about the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And motion passes. Minutes from the recess session of January 8th, 2019. Copy's been sent to everybody. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Hall, is there a second? Mr. Bowers, are there any questions about the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Payroll. Is there a motion to approve the payroll? Mrs. Awful, is there a second? Mr. Whitlow? Are there any questions about the payroll? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Bard.
Here, yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Okenauer.
Yes.
Curtis. Doobie.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Johnson. McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Are there any public comments this morning? Seeing none. The only comments I have this morning related to flood matters. There have been in the past month 4 flood meetings that I've attended. The process is still ongoing. Progress is being made. It's very slow. The intent is to try and develop an entity for Kankakee and Iroquois counties that will enable us to get some meaningful action taken to mitigate the flood threat and to maintain that condition going forward. So, There's another meeting scheduled tomorrow in Indiana that I'll be attending, and several others during the upcoming days, so that's about it as far as flood is concerned. Move on to outside organization reports. Mr. Bargray isn't here today, fell on the ice and injured himself last night, so we'll go to Mr. Hall.
February 14th, Unit 13 Extension Council meeting was held by, I call it, telephone conference call. In that meeting, the extension director went over staffing. All positions are filled except for the open ones. Extension education, publication and promotions specialist. Other pending ones are the extension program coordinator for Fort Iroquois County, extension program coordinator, also the staff education program for Champaign community workers, position for Champaign and Vermilion County. I should have added that the Unit 13 consists of Fort Iroquois County, Vermilion, and Champaign counties, 4 counties. She went over the budget. End of the fiscal year 18, we had $543,766 in the account. At the present time, there is $833,216 in the account. 56.6 come from local funds. State funding is 112% already there. So that's a grand total of $1,045,743.99, or 78% of the, 78% of the total. Year-to-date expenses were $365,415. That's 22.5% of the budget. State matching of $99,865 was added to our account this year. Some of these funds were funds owed from the previous fiscal year. I mentioned the open places for staffing yet. I do have a copy of the budget if anyone wants to see it as it was presented. Also have a list of upcoming seminars they're having. They start on February 5th, which was already passed, but there's seminars on February 19th, 26th, and later in the year. Anybody want a copy of this, see me as well. Any questions? If not, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other outside organization reports? Seeing none, we'll go to the committee reports. Mr. Ralph, Finance.
Lyle Burns. Out of the finance first?
Yep.
Michael McTaggart, I guess, is not here today, so you'd have to listen to me. Your committee to whom was referred finance would beg you to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administration Center on February 7th at 9 a.m. Members present were Michael McTaggart, Charlie Paul Powers, Ernie Curtis, Marvin Stignog, and Sherry Johnson. Joe Young was absent. Also present, Treasurer Kurt Albers, Sheriff Derek Hagan, County Clerk Lisa Badger, County Board Chairman John Scher, Probation Director Tom Lapham, Superintendent of Assessments Bob Earger, 911 Director Eric Raymond, Grants Processor Sandy Sigma, Susie Warner with Home Star Insurance, Greg Stebbins, Byron Mayan with Compass Insurance, and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Marvin Sticknock and seconded by Ernie Curtis to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There was no public comment. Greg Stebbins and Myron Onion with Compass Insurance reported that cyber security application was emailed to Finance Manager Amanda Longfellow for completion. Longfellow stated she will be reviewing the application with Michael Tabor from Area Wide after today's IT meeting. Susie Warner and with Home Star Insurance reports no updates on their end, but they have been processing enrollment changes as they receive them from the finance office. Department heads gave their monthly reports. They are as follows. 911 Director Eric Raymond reports he applied for a grant for 911. Request was for $366,000 for a new CAD system. Treasurer Kurt Alberts reports that they are receiving bids from vendors for tax paper. Finance Manager Amanda Longfellow reports she had a phone conference on January 30th with Hope Weaver, with Clifton Larson Allen, and Audrey Mortis with Wyatt Harden regards to new government standards related to other post-employment benefits. An actuary study is required to calculate what our current employees are earning now as they were working as a health care benefit, and they may take advantage of when they retire. During the phone call, we noted the last study done for the county was 2009. iHeart quotes a rate of $4,500 to produce a report for fiscal year 18. Longfellow said the rate could be reduced by $4,000 if the county chose to enter into a 2-year agreement. This would include an FY19 report at an additional cost of $2,500. Wheeler's suggestion is to opt into a 1-year study, and at this time, it was moved by Sherrod Johnson and Charlie All, a second by to approve iHeart to complete the actuary study for fiscal year 18 for 1 year at the cost of $4,500. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Committee reviewed the claims. Johnson commented on an increase in the water bill. It was moved by Powers and seconded by All to pay the claims subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. During old business, Sherrod Johnson reminded the committee about the revolving loan fund report they are supposed to receive from IDA Director Ken Berry. Longfellow states she will contact him regarding the report. During new business, County Clerk Lisa Thatcher informed the committee that the county trustee has been in contact with her about 2 parcels in the village of Loda, and they have taken a tax fee for on behalf of the county. The village of Loda would like to buy these 2 parcels. County board approved is needed for the sale to go through. It was a consensus of the finance committee to agree to the sale of the 2 parcels. Thatcher said full approval will be on the county board agenda. Also during new business, Mike McTaggart said he would like to begin preparing and discussing capital expenditure items. Lastly, County Board Chairman John Scher informed the committee an application was received for a hog farm in Milford. The application was forwarded to all board members. The matter will be on the county board agenda for discussion. Scher also said that any county board members are aware of anyone objecting to the hog farm, they should attend the board meeting to state their objections and allow the county board to respond to the Department of Agriculture and schedule a public hearing. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Powers and seconded by All to adjourn at 9:17 a.m. Motion carried by those votes. All of which is effectively submitted. I ask for the approval of this report.
Motion on the floor to approve the finance committee report, is there a second? Mr. Hughes, are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
Bowers, Kogenauer,
Yes.
Curtis, Doobie,
Yes.
Hughes, Johnson,
Yes.
McGinnis,
Yes.
Awful,
Yes.
Shure,
Yes.
Whitlow,
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Bard,
Yes.
14-0.
Before we move on to management services, we need to back up on the finance committee report, the part about the village of Rhoda wanting to purchase 2 parcels of land. We need a separate motion to approve that. At this time, we entertain that motion. Mr. Bowers, is there a second? Mr. Zumwalt, are there any questions about this? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Now we'll move on to management committee report, Mr. Auld.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, this committee to whom was referred management services will beg you to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administration Center on February 4th, 2019 at 9 a.m. Members present were Lyle Behrens, Charlie Alt, Paul Bowers, John Sumwalt, and Sherry Johnson. Paul Ducott and Kevin Pullman were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Scher, Maintenance Supervisor Chris Drake, 911 Director Eric Raymond, Odell Hyatt Watson, and Fred Whitman with the Central Illinois Community Action Agency, Ori Cummings, Bill Clark, and David Pliskin, with Mark Platt, and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Charlie Altman, second by John Zumwalt, to make an amendment to agenda allowing Head Start to give their report after public comments. Motion carried by voice vote. It was moved by Zumwalt and second by Alt to approve the agenda. Motion carried and that voice vote. There was no public comment. Charlie Alt made the committee and the Head Start staff aware of a safety concern regarding the children attending the school. East Central Illinois Community Action Agency, academic officer Wyatt Watson informed the committee the program does have federal mandate to follow. Odette Watson shared their own office collects as many applications as possible from the families who have special priorities. Ms. Wyatt Watson stated some of those qualifications, those are as follows: income elimination, being raised by grandparents, kids with disabilities. Ms. Wyatt Watson believes the children are safe in the administration building. She states they have a door that is locked at all times, a doorbell and a window you can see in and out of, who are in place for the children. For those are in place for the children's safety at all of their Head Start facilities. Ms. Wyatt Watson also shared these children released to an individual that is written in the contract application. Person dropping off the victim children must be on their list, and they must sign the sheets for the child's safety. Visitors in the classroom are required to wear a visitor sticker. Ms. Wyatt Watson mentioned there are announced and unannounced visits to the classroom to make sure all safety precautions are being followed by their employees. All expressed this concern of law requiring that all registered child molesters be 500 feet from the school. All mentioned that children entering the same entry way as anyone in the public could enter at any time during the business hours. Ms. Wyatt Watson mentioned to the committee all of these All their centers are located in public areas, and that's why they follow protocol. For our parents who are registered sex offenders, you can't stop them from entering if they have a purpose. Redwood, one with East Central Illinois Community Action Agency stated, action is taken to ensure that all safety policies are followed. Lastly, Management Chairman Lyle Behrens asked Ms. Watson if STAR would be using their planners this year. Ms. Watson answered yes, and they would be receiving help from the University of Illinois. Parents are also help maintenance. Parents also help maintain the planners during the summer months. There was no update on the county farm. Resolutions were distributed to the committee to review regarding building efficiencies. It was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by all to approve the resolution for chiller replacement contingent upon State's Attorney Jim Devine's approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. It was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Paul Bowers to approve the resolution for financing contingency upon State's Attorney Jim Devine's approval. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. It was moved by Bowers and seconded by Zumwalt to enter into executive session 11:05 a.m. under 5 ILCS 120/2, section 6, setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body. Motion carried by voice vote. It was moved by Alton, seconded by Bowers to come out of executive session 11:20 a.m. Motion carried by voice vote. It was moved by Sherry Johnson and seconded by Zumwalt to accept the lease option agreement with Citron pending State Attorney Jim Devine's review and the County Board's approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Management Supervisor Chris Drake reported on the following: snow removal and salt activity was done 4 or 5 times in the month of January. No snow removal in December. Repairs frozen water lines in maintenance shed. Janitor at the administration center resigned. A new janitor was hired last week. USDA carpets were cleaned. Treasurer's office and boardroom carpets were scheduled to be cleaned. No heat pump issues. Johnson made aware of the increase in the most recent water bill. Inquiries about the cleaning of the county courthouse chairs. As there was no further business to come before the committee, was moved by Bowers and seconded by Zumwalt to adjourn at 11:44 a.m. Motion carried. All of this is respectfully submitted. And I ask for approval of this report.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the management committee report. Is there a second? Mr. Whitlow, are there any questions on the report? Mrs. Austin?
What's the increase of the water bill?
Actually, I found out, but they just put it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for Mr. Devine.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Was the issues with SmartWatt resolved, particularly as far as some of the language in the contract that had to do with the...
It has not been resolved.
Okay, so that part we're gonna need to separate out and not approve.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? The part about the chiller replacement is not a part of it. The other part about the remainder of the work with SmartWatt is what we're talking about. It could be I believe the 7th paragraph on the second page of the report. Says it was moved by Zumwalt and seconded by Paul Bowers to approve the resolution for financing. entertain a motion to remove that for separate consideration. Mr. Bard, is there a second? Mrs. Awful.
John, you send that back to committee for reconsideration next?
Well, we're gonna take it out for separate consideration, and then a motion can be made to send it back.
That's all right.
Can't you just make one motion and separate it and send it back to the,
That's fine if you wanna do that.
John, is it just this
Just
paragraph
this
or
one here.
not this one up there?
Not the children one, just this one. We wanna get the children done, and that's not what the concern is.
Okay.
The concern is this one. Everybody understand that then? Are you wanna amend your motion, Mr. Bard, to send it back to the committee?
So, yes.
Okay, is there any other questions on this? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Kokenauer,
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Motion carried 14-0.
Okay. Motion subject to matter be returned to the management committee. Are there any other questions on the remainder of the report? Seeing none, the clerk will
Wait a
call the
minute,
roll.
wait a minute. Sheriff,
Sheriff?
I just have, is the sex offender issue with Head Start we've gone through a couple years ago, is there a certain reason why that came up again?
well, I've seen a few mishaps out there myself where they weren't abiding with their rules. The main one was there was supposed to be separation between groups of students holding hands with teachers going to and from the bus. I saw a gross neglect of that one time.
But
And
specifically the sex offender issue, I mean, they can't reside within 500 feet.
they're not supposed to come within 500 feet.
No, it's a residing. If they're coming here for county business, they can be in the building. If they go ring the bell at Head Start and want entry in there, then they're in violation of that. But if they don't, if they walk past that door and they have nothing to do with the Head Start classrooms, they're not violating the Sex Offender Registry Act.
I think that could be questioned in interpretation. I know the sex offender can't pick up his own mail in the post office because the post office is directly across the street from the public park where children play.
Well,
That's not true either. They absolutely can. I don't know who's interpreting that for you. They can't loiter near a public park.
I'll send him to you then.
Okay, sure. And I'd like to see your legal research on it, Charlie.
I think it's a long way different.
No, because I've read the case law on that very issue.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
Sure, I'll be happy to give it to you.
Okay. It seems like it's a long way difference though from 500 feet distance. They're supposed to be away from it and coming in the door in the same doorway. Only
That's
one
not a
goes left
violation.
and the other goes straight ahead.
It's not a violation.
It's not.
It is not.
Feel better about that. Something.
Yeah,
that
we
would
talked
happen.
about this years ago.
Well, we
So
did-
there's really no
we did
new
do it
issue
2
that I'm
years ago.
hearing here that should give Head Start any concern.
Okay, is there anything else about the report that we have a question or comment? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Bowers.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Curtis. Doobie.
Yes.
Hughes. Johnson. McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
No.
Motion carried 13-1.
Okay, tax committee, Mr. Whitlow.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred to / zoning would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administration Center on February 5, 2019 at 9 a.m. Members present were Sticknot, Curtis, Bard, Doobie, and Whitlow. Awful and Kokenauer were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Schuer, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, Treasurer Kurt Elvers, ICPHD Administrator Dee Shippert, Director of Environmental Health Terry Iman, Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler, Jeremy Witchner, and Wendy Davis for the Times-Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Whitlow and seconded by Bard to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Doobie and seconded by Whitlow to pay the claims subject to county board approval. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. There were no public comments. The department heads gave their monthly reports. County Clerk Lisa Fancher reported her office's work on the April consolidated election. Early voting will begin February 21st. The county clerk's office is also preparing for tax extension. Statements of the economic interest will be mailed out in early March. Treasurer Kurt Albers reported proposals have been sent out to the vendors for pricing on tax bill paper. Supervisor of Assessments Bob Yergler reported the Board of Review complaint period has passed. The assessment office is processing tentative decisions by the Board of Review and will send out notices for the final hearings. Lastly, Yergler stated senior freeze notices should be going out in the mail in early February. The committee reviewed the Planning and Zoning Office report for January. It read as follows. Building permits, January 2019, agriculture 1, residential 1, wind towers 0. Building permits fiscal 19, residential 6, agriculture 1, wind tower 0. Building inspections, January 2019, 20. Zoning Board of Appeals, January 2019. Jeremy and Chelsea Witchner to rezone a tract of approximately 5 acres from an A2 agriculture district to RH-1 rural homestead for the purpose of building a house. The committee discussed Mr. and Mrs. Witchner's rezoning request. It was moved by Doobie and seconded by Whitlow to approve the rezoning application for Jeremy and Chelsea Witchner from A to RH-1. A roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. During new business, County Board Chairman John Schuer stated the Management Committee discussed the decommissioning of solar farms. Apparently, there are some locations that are not properly disposing of solar panels or completely removing everything from the site. The Management Committee suggested the solar ordinance be reviewed, in particular the decommissioning section, to ensure proper disposal occurs in our county. Sure asked for the matter to be placed on next month's agenda for discussion. Yergler said he will ask State's Attorney Jim Devine if this would be considered a substantial ordinance change. If it is, the change will have to go through a recommendation for the changes, and the county board can make the approval. Baird questioned the number of potential solar farms there are in Iroquois County. Yergler answered there are 10. As there was no further discussion to come before the committee, it was moved by Bard and seconded by Curtis to adjourn the meeting at 9:24 a.m. Motion carried by a voice vote. All, which is respectfully submitted, signed by members present, and I move for the adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the tax zoning committee report. Is there a second? Ms. Dewey. Are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Mrs. Awful.
It states, apparently there are some locations that are not properly disposing of the solar panels or completely removing everything from the site. What are those locations?
Where?
Yeah,
There are other locations elsewhere in this country. I believe
not
most.
near Iroquois.
No, but in the event that requirement comes about, we need to have our ordinance properly written to make sure that we don't have that same situation.
Trying to be a little proactive on it.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Curtis.
Yes.
Doobie.
Yes.
Hughes. Johnson.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
14-0.
Okay, Health Committee, Mr. Whitlow.
Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred health would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administration Center on February 5, 2019 at 9:30 a.m. Members present were Whitlow, Curtis, Bard, and Doobie. Awful and Kokenauer were absent. Also present, County Board Chairman John Shore, ICPHD Administrator Dee Shippert, ICPHD Director of Environmental Health Terry Iman, County Board Member Stickneck and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Doobie and seconded by Bard to approve the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. It was moved by Curtis and seconded by Bard to pay the claims, subject to county board approval. The roll call vote was taken, motion carried. ICPHD Administrator Dee Shippert distributed the updated grants and contracts list. Shippert reviewed the monthly program summary report with the committee. ICPHD Director of Environmental Health Terry Iman shared a presentation on sewage. Iman informed the committee there are two types of sewage systems, private and public. Private sewage system is a single home and public is a municipal system. Iman informed the committee staff has 14 days to respond to a sewage complaint, but they do their best to visit the site the same day the complaint is received. Pumper trucks are inspected annually for proper licensing and construction. During new business, County Board Chairman John Shore informed the committee an application for a livestock facility was received from the Department of Agriculture. The county needs to notify the Department of Agriculture if a hearing is necessary. The matter will be placed on the county board agenda. If there is no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Doobie and seconded by Bard to adjourn at 10:38 a.m. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by members present, and I have moved for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the Health Committee report. Is there a second? This is awful. Are there any questions or comments on the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Doobie.
Yes.
Hughes. Johnson.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers. Kokenauer.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
14-0.
Judicial and Public Safety, Mr. McGinnis.
Mr. Chairman and members of the County Board, your committee to whom was referred Judicial and Public Safety would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the courthouse on February 6, 2019 at 3 p.m. Members present were Kyle Barron, Paul Ducat, Roger Bard, Steve Hughes, Don Crow, Chad McGinnis, and Jed Whitlow. Also present were Coroner Bill Cheatham, Probation Supervisor Barb King, Judge James Kinzer, State's Attorney Jim Devine, Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines, 911 Director Eric Raymond, County Board Chairman John Scher, and Wendy Davis with Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and seconded by Jed Whitlow to approve the agenda. Motion carried by voice vote. There are no public comments. Coroner Bill Cheatham explained the increase in his claims for the month of January is due to a death caused by a house fire. Probation Supervisor Barb King reviewed the probation and court services activity report for December and January. Judge James Kinzer reported the murder case is coming up in 2 weeks, which will consume the February jury calendar. Kinzer also informed the committee language line for translations is working well for court services. State's Attorney Jim Devine also reported the murder trial is in 2 weeks. Circuit Clerk Lisa Hines distributed her monthly report to the committee for their review. A total of $41,659.08 was received in fines and fees, and $4,393.79 was received from credit collection partners. Hines stated they have started receiving payments from the Comptroller's program, which will be for February. Approximately 5,000 in payments has been received. 911 Director Eric Raymond distributed the ETSB report for January. Raymond noted the Next Generation grant has been submitted. During new business, County Board Chairman John Scher informed the committee a letter was received from the Department of Agriculture regarding a hog farm in the Milford area. If the County Board wishes to hold a public hearing, we need to respond within 30 days. Donna Crow says she has had conversations with 2 of her neighbors and neither have objections. Scher noted the matter will be placed on the County Board agenda for discussion. The committee reviewed the claims. It was moved by Paul Duquette and seconded by Whitlow to pay the judicial and public safety claims subject to County Board approval. A roll call vote was taken, motion carried. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Duquette and seconded by Steve Hughes to adjourn the meeting at 3:25 p.m. Motion carried by voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted. I move for its adoption.
There's a motion on the floor to approve the judicial public safety report. Is there a second? Mr. Zumo, are there any questions or comments regarding the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
Hughes. Johnson. McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Scher.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Barb.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Doobie.
Yes.
14-0.
IT Committee. Members of the County Board, your committee, to whom was referred IT, would beg leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Administrative Center on February 7, 2019 at 9:56 a.m. Members present were McTaggart, Bowers, Scher, and Sticknall. Joe Young was absent. Also present, County Clerk Lisa Fancher, 911 Director Eric Raymond, ICPHD Grants Processor Sandy Sigma, Michael Tabor with Area Wide, Greg Steffen and Myron Munyon with Compass Insurance, and Wendy Davis with the Times Republic. The meeting was called to order. It was moved by Scher and seconded by Bowers to approve the agenda. That motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. County Clerk Lisa Fancher reported she and Michael Tabor with Area Wide have a meeting with the Cyber Navigator representative from the State Board of Elections this morning. This meeting is part of the last component to bring in the Cyber Navigator program in order to get the money available to the county. ICPHD Grants Processor Sandy Sigma reported the Health Department has received their 2 new tablets. They are having problems with one of the tablets. Tabor said he will look into the issues. Finance Manager Amanda Longfellow informed the committee she received a cybersecurity insurance application from Schultz Insurance. Longfellow said she will be completing the application with Tabor after the IT meeting. Tabor said he spoke to Illinois Century Network and they are currently working in conjunction with the grant to restructure their pricing so a quote for services is not available at this time. Also, there is a current ICN connection for 911 for the needs connectivity. Because of this, the installation should be simplified due to the equipment being on hand. IT Committee Chairman Michael McTaggart said the cybersecurity insurance information should be added to the agenda for next month for further discussion. Tabor reported the county began the email security awareness 2 months ago. Tabor suggested the committee review the report during a closed session next month. Tabor also noted there is a website redesign meetings at 11:30 a.m. McTaggart requested the committee and area-wide begin compiling their list of IT projects for the upcoming year and future years. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Bowers and seconded by Scher to adjourn at 10:31 a.m. That motion carried by a voice vote, all of which is respectfully submitted, and I move for its approval. Is there a second? Mr. Zumwalt, are there any questions or comments about the report? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Johnson.
Yes.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt. Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers. Hohenhour.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Doobie.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
14-0.
Highway, Mr. Roll. Thank you.
Transportation Highway had 2 meetings this past month. I'll start with the first one. Mr. Chairman, members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred Transportation and Highway, they leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Committee met at the Iroquois County Highway Building on January 30th, 2019 at 9 a.m. Members present were Joe Young, Sherry Johnson, Chad McGinnis, John Zumwalt, Charles Walt, Donna Crow, and Steve Hughes were absent. The meeting was called to order. There was no public comments. It was moved by John Zumwalt and second by Sherry Johnson to approve the agenda. Motion carried. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and seconded by John Zumwalt to take a 5-minute recess while the highway department staff checks and prepares the bids for reading. Meeting will reconvene at 9:18 a.m. County Engineer Joel Moore read the following bids as follows. Papanow Road District 16-21103-00-BR. Ash Grove Road District 15-02102-02-DR. Iroquois County 18-00078-01-DR. Countywide reseal, countywide stockpile chips, countywide stockpile CM6/10, countywide pipe culverts, county FOB oil. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and seconded by John Zumwalt to table action until regular Transportation Highway Committee meeting on February 8th, 2018. Subject to bid tab reviews. Motion carried unanimously. Quotes for township finishing an application of calcium chloride were read. No action was needed. There was no further business to come before the committee. It was moved by Sherry Johnson and seconded by Chad McGinnis to adjourn the meeting at 10:03 a.m. Motion carried. All of which is quickly submitted. read you up before we do. Attached to that report is the bid lettings for the county at that time. Mr. Chairman and members of the county board, your committee to whom was referred transportation and highway with big leave to submit the following report on the matters before them. Your committee met at the Iroquois County Highway Building on February 8, 2019 at 9 a.m. Members present were Charlie Alt, Steve Hughes, John Zumwalt, Donna Crow, Sherry Johnson, and Chad McGinnis. Joe Young was absent. Also present, County Engineer Joel Moore and Wendy Davis of the Times Republic. Meeting was called to order. It was moved by John Zumwalt and second by Steve Hughes. Approved the agenda. Motion carried by a voice vote. There were no public comments. Claims and finance reports for the month were received. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and second by Hughes to pay the bill subject to the county board approval. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Bills for county highway, $58,080. County bridge, $1,789. County matching zero. TBP, nothing. County MFT, $24,882. And township MFT, zero. County Engineer Joel Moore discussed the maintenance levy that took place January 30th. It was moved by Chad McGinnis and second by Zumwalt to accept the result of the January 30th, 2019 levy as listed and reject the Papineau Road District 16-21103-00-BR. Roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Moore presented a preliminary engineering agreement for the township bridge inspection. He stated the township bridges are inspected by consultant Fair Graham per annual agreement. They do a quote not to exceed in the quote contract that includes 119 township bridges for $29,966. It was moved by Sherry Johnson and second by Zumwalt to accept the preliminary engineering agreement for township bridge inspection not to exceed $29,966. The roll call vote was taken. Motion carried. Moore noted he may have the opportunity next year to hire someone part-time to handle bridge inspections. More details will be discussed during the budget hearings later in the year. Moore gave an update on the Woodland Bridge, stating the letting will be held in November. Updates on the design of the bridge will need to be done and work will begin in spring of 2020. As there was no further business to come before the committee, it was moved by Donna Crow and seconded by McGinnis to adjourn at 9:25 a.m. Motion carried by voice call. Voice vote. All wishes respectfully submitted. I ask your approval of this committee report.
Motion on the floor to approve both highway department reports. Is there a second? Mr. Hughes, are there any questions or comments regarding the reports? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, please.
McGinnis.
Yes.
Awful.
Yes.
Schuer.
Yes.
Whitlow.
Yes.
Zumwalt.
Yes.
Alt.
Yes.
Bard.
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Kokenauer.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Hughes. Johnson. 14-0.
Good. Claims. Everyone has a copy of the claims in front of them. Is there a motion to approve the claims? Mr. Bowers, is there a second? Mrs. Awful. Are there any questions or comments regarding the claims?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Trench lawn care, the snow removal, is that what's salt?
I don't know that I have the answer to that.
Yes.
It is? Did he submit any kind of weight tickets for assault or anything?
They're not weight tickets, I just get a copy of how much you use.
So it varies every time?
Yeah. How that's being weighed, I don't know, but I don't get certified tickets from anywhere.
So it's a guess.
Well, yeah.
At $1,100 a ton. I don't like guessing.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Awful,
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
Willow,
Yes.
Zumal.
Yes.
Alt,
Yes.
Bard,
Yes.
Bowman,
No.
Bowers,
Yes.
Kokenauer,
No.
Curtis.
Yes.
Doobie,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Johnson, McGinnis.
Yes.
Motion carried 12-2.
Okay, on your copy of your agenda in front of you is a list of the appointments for the month. Is there a motion to approve those appointments?
So moved.
Mrs. Awful, is there a second? Mr. Bauer, second. Are there any questions about the appointment? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Is there any old business to come before the board this morning? Under new business to see on your agenda is listed a discussion and action regarding having the Department of Agriculture to conduct an informational hearing for the proposed livestock management facility near Milford. With us this morning is Mr. Nick Anderson from the Illinois Livestock Development Group, as well as, I believe, several interested citizens. At this time, I'd like to open up the floor to anyone that wishes to make any comments regarding this matter. I know you had some questions yesterday, Mr. Margison. Do you have any, would you want to voice any of those at this time?
As Township Highway Supervisor, Commissioner in Stalton Township, which is a neighboring township to this, and I have been approached about possible facilities coming to my township also. Just wondering if there was any road use agreements or anything like that that could be reviewed ahead of time of these facilities going in. Nick Anderson with the Livestock Group, and if any of you have questions afterwards, I'll leave my number there. And I don't recall on Charles Leitz's, do you have his application where his phone number is?
I don't have a copy of it, no.
I'll get it.
It may be in the papers that I have.
Sure. So on that site selection type of stuff, the roadsure comes into it. There are some, not specific, I don't know if you have road agreements in your road district already, but there are some agreements out there, and we don't like to have those discussions. There is some tax that comes from that. I realize that doesn't supplement road use. Maybe it's gratuitous that way, but if you have some ideas on, what stretch of road it is, what kind of maintenance numbers are out there, and my hope is we have good communication and get that resolved before we get to that point of application or the department makes a decision. The Department of Agriculture does have kind of a road, definition in there about subject to local road use and local government type policies. But I can share a card with you when I leave, and you can use me as a resource. And if those projects do come to attrition, hopefully we'll have some good discussion before that point.
No, that's all we were looking for. Is we'd rather get ahead of the game and get it started rather than be behind the 8 ball when there's a jam.
Yeah, and forgive me, I didn't catch your township.
Stockland.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I think part of the concern too is the use of the roads during the time of the year when they're posted for weight limits and so forth. And as to what how is that handled?
So a lot of times, depending on the district and if it's gravel or seal coat, and road agreements come into place on either contribution in and above what the tax is, or some type of agreement that repair comes back to bring that road up to the standard. And it's individually done, negotiated with districts and the farms to work those details out.
I guess these are a couple of the issues that have been brought to my attention. As I said, it's up to this board to decide whether we want to ask the department to have an informational hearing. So that's the purpose of this. So, is there anyone else that has a comment or a question?
I'm
Yes, sir.
Jeff Cabot. I am the
Can you
Milford Township.
speak up and say your name?
I'm Jeff Cabot. I'm the Milford Township Road Commissioner, and yeah, I'm here for the same purpose. So.
Okay. Do you have any comments, Joel?
No, I think if we can get some type of road agreement in ahead of time, because like I said, when you come to this time of year and roads get soft and they're got to haul feed in, that's when everybody's feelings get hurt and everybody's mad. So if we can get something settled beforehand, before it ever gets built, it'd make everything a lot easier. Down the road, it'd protect the hog operation and the township both.
Do you think these are issues that would require us to ask the department to have an informational hearing?
I don't see where it would hurt.
I can't hurt, any information, and I don't know if it's the Department of Ag that we really need the information from. It's more probably the landowner and the hog operation itself. I don't know if that's information that would come out at this meeting, or if that's something that needs to be held privately.
So the consideration the department has in the 8 siting criteria, transportation is one of those criteria. And what the requirement of the department is, you must designate a route and provide them the route. It doesn't talk, it's not their business to negotiate contracts or those types of things, other than identify the route out of the farm with the least impact. And typically that's a straight line. But when you cross over townships, sometimes some townships would rather have you take that township road out. And that's normal type conversation. And from the county board standpoint, and I think Charles has researched with his neighbors, notices have gone out to neighbors, notified, and he's talked to folks and not caught negative feedback. And my hope is if they would wish one, the public can request one outside the county board's request. But if you do need, if you don't have a meeting, you need additional information through myself or Charles, happy to visit with you about that. And if you should, you have so many days to notify the department. They have so many days to schedule a hearing, and it's kind of their hearing on behalf of your board to do that. And they provide all the pertinent information and testimony that might come to that. They do require you to give a non-binding recommendation for or against or neutral, whatever it might be at the end of that. But the decision on meeting the criteria ends up being the Department of Agriculture's, and does the farm meet or exceed those? So, and just a quick note, if you don't have those maps, and I'll sure share it with folks, there's nobody in the residential setback, and there's no one in the populated area setback, which are 1,320 feet and 2,640 feet. So there's a good buffer between that, and then really it's the road district and finding the best route out.
I guess I might also add a comment that there's an application in process in Ford County right now where there has been quite a bit of dissent from the various citizens, and I don't believe that theirs is primarily involved with odor concerns, and I don't believe that's the case here, but it's something that we need to be make a note of or be aware of in case there is anybody that might have those concerns. I've got hog farms near where I live, and I never have any odor problems. So the only time that happens is if they spread the manure on the top of the ground and it's there for a few days, but that's it. So. Okay, I guess if there's no further discussion from anybody outside the board, I'll open it up to the board. If the board has any questions, if not, we can determine if we want to make a motion to request a hearing or not. The letter that was sent to me was dated on January 24th. I believe it says somewhere in there that we're supposed to notify them within 15 days of receipt of that. Well, excuse me, it says 30 days. There's a statutory 30 days that we have to respond to it. So we need to decide today, I guess, is what I'm leading up to. Kevin?
I have a question. It looks to me like, I'm looking at the map, that if you gentlemen would designate 1100 North Road as the designated route and work it out with the owners, or is that basically the main road that we're talking about?
Yeah, it's about 7/10 of a mile to the highway, and I don't have a problem with it at all. It's been for the road district wise.
So it looks to me like if you could work something out on that road and designate that road, Joel, would that be acceptable?
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not.
Yeah, I've already talked to Robert, and I don't have a problem with it. I think there needs to be a road use agreement drawn up, just because I'm an elected official. If I don't get reelected next term, or something happens and I die, then that's protecting his rights, so nothing changes in the whole thing.
And the next part of that, Kevin, is not only from the highway to this facility, you've got those trucks coming in, feed, livestock going out, whichever. But there's a manure handling thing. And all that manure is not gonna stay right on that facility. It's gonna travel them roads depending which way they go.
Okay.
It could affect more roads than just that 7/10 of a mile.
Right.
Is what our concern is.
And just for clarification, I believe Charles is in this position, even though Mother Nature does affect us. So dragline would be an option of choice, where we don't have to put semi-trailers and tractors out there. Use of right-of-way to those fields that are accessible, outside of Mother Nature, some twist of fate. Trucking, tanker trucking can be part of that, and my guess is with good communication, typically a farm of this size will have 3 to 4 trucks a week on average. There will be weeks that they don't have trucks, and that's really trying to plan around freeze and thaw during posting. And then there'll be weeks where they have 6 or 7 when they take hogs out, so it's an all-in, all-out situation. So once the pigs are in there, they stay there for 5 to 6 months, and then they go out and you feed them through that cycle.
I guess my question is, the usage, does he have to go through Department of Ag for the road usage?
No.
Or do we have to have a hearing to get that, set up the road usage?
So road usage in Illinois is dictated through the township structure. So Board of Trustees and the power goes to the road commissioner to work out those agreements. There are rules of the road and posting requirements and ordinance requirements under the Illinois Road Act that everybody would have to follow and negotiate through, but that is a separate issue of the township and the township trustees and the road commission.
But is that with the farmer or with
anybody that's using that road? He's a property owner, but if somebody needed to cut across the district to deliver somewhere on the other side of that district, anybody that comes through that and uses the road use, the road commissioner has the power to negotiate or work those agreements out or limit that traffic.
I guess my question to you, Jeff, then, are you guys gonna have a hearing for that purpose, or?
I don't think
or you
so.
think
I don't
you can
think
work it
so.
out?
I think me and Charles will be able to work it out fine, between us. I don't think we've talked about it already, so I don't think there's gonna be a problem.
And I believe road agreements don't require hearings, but ordinance to change road use would have to have some type of ordinance change that,
right.
And then landowners and folks like that will be involved. But with road use agreements, those are determined upon between that communication with the road commissioner.
I mean, I don't think, the only time you're talking about having problems is gonna be in the springtime, in the thaw conditions, and, basically, the road use agreement, I mean, you're gonna be using the road like it's legal to use it the rest of the year around. The only time you're gonna have a problem is the springtime, And that's the issue that needs to be addressed, really.
Right.
And, you know, I think if we put about 6 inches of rock on that 7/10 of a mile, it should build the road up enough to probably withhold any problem in the spring. I don't think it'd be a problem.
A mile of road's not cheap to build.
No.
So we will pay for that.
We will see an increase in property tax from it, so
Right.
I do see a benefit that way, and you're gonna be, providing a few more jobs.
So who would pay for the buildup of the road to make it accessible?
He'd have to work that out.
Yeah, I talked to Robert about it, I
That's
mean,
not-
I
That
don't,
comes through the township.
Right.
yeah, I mean, we're just talking about putting some rock on it.
Mr. Stacy, you have something?
Yes, excuse me, sir. How far away is this proposed location from any watershed? Particularly my concern is, hog manure can be, quite harmful to natural environments if it gets in the riverway. We've seen that happen in our county recently. There are many ways to mitigate this. I'm just kind of curious how far away it is from any creek or watershed.
So that's, and I don't have this on this map, but Department of Agriculture, that's a requirement to identify those. So the reinforcement and the building of this building containment of the site meets all those criteria. That is a non-point discharge location. Then the rules of application to farm ground. So there are waterways and tiles that have to be identified in a nutrient management plan that would have to be on file. This farm is big enough that they'd have to have that on file and notify the department that they have that. EPA is required or can come out anytime and do that inspection. But through incorporation and best management practices and by applying agronomic rate, which the rules are with hog manure or any livestock manure, they'd have to abide by the Clean Water Act and the Illinois EPA rules. So this conversation with the Department of Ag is really about the building and the integrity of the site. When it comes into operation, that becomes an Illinois EPA issue on the enforcement of the Clean Water Act. So farmers are aware of that, and there are bulletins and procedures to follow through EPA that every livestock farmer has to abide by. And we expect that of Charles, and Charles is aware of those policies too.
Okay.
Okay, I get back to before, it's up to the board to decide if we feel an informational hearing should be conducted. I would say that if one feels that it should be, now would be the time to make a motion accordingly, and then we can process from that point.
I'd like to make a motion to forego the informational meeting and tell the Department of Ag to proceed with the permit process.
Okay,
I'd like to second it.
okay. Is there any other questions or comments regarding that motion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Very good, that motion passes. Is there any other new business to come before the board this morning? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Rawl.
Gotta be important.
Opposed, same sign.